Oh, look at this!
God!
Jackhammer!
Jackhammer!
SHW. This is our wrestling.
Unbelievable!
You think you could walk all over me, but I don't see that happening. We're warriors.
One shot is all Joe Black needed to become the SHW Champion.
Spear to Hanson! But look, he never dropped his spear. Ooh.
You get a moonsault, and you get a moonsault, and you get a moonsault.
Would you look at the size of this ham hock?
Wow.
This crowd is going ballistic. This is insane.
And now, the voices of Southern Honor Wrestling, Brandon Benefield and Gerard Bonner.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the only place you can get the best information pertaining to Southern Honor Wrestling. It's the official SHW podcast. SHW, This Is Our Wrestling, hosted by your commentary team, B-Double Brandon Benefield, GB Gerard Bonner. My man, how you living, buddy?
Man, I'm good. What a week. What a week. The wildly unpredictable world of pro wrestling meets the wildly unpredictable year of 2020.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah, we're coming off the heels of a big show with SHW 21, and it was an amazing show. And normally, the following week, we would kind of give you a rundown of recap the show and kind of talk all about it. But everything got kind of thrown for a loop earlier this week when we got this huge announcement from our SHW champion, Joe Black. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, I believe it was Tuesday of this week, just a few days ago. And he, well, in case you'd missed the video, let's just take a look. Here's what he had to say. Check it out.
So it appears that people are running their mouth, spreading rumors, gossiping like hoes, because, I mean, the world of professional wrestling. But I felt like I owed it to my fans for you to hear it from my mouth. And December 11th, at the Southern Honor Show, I will be coming to turn this in, relinquish this title. It's not something that I want to do. It's not even something that I need to do. It's something that has to happen. Since the Rumble Jack, I've been wrestling with a torn Achilles. I tore it in the Rumble Jack, and I just kept going. A little bit of tape, some braces, keep wrestling. There was an era of wrestling where wrestlers were tough guys, and they would wrestle through breaks and all sorts of manner of injury, but I think it's time for me to let my body rest. I've been doing this for 12 years with no break. This ain't goodbye. It's just, for now, I just need to kind of, go gentle into that good night. But I will see you all December 11th. I will turn this in, and I'm sure Dylan has some kind of crazy, diabolical plot to crown a new champion. So until next time, I'm on vacation.
Well, how about that?
Shocking.
Yeah, shocking news there from the SHW champion, and just wow, what a blow to the company, what a blow to Joe Black. And I got to tell you, you never want to see anybody go down with any kind of injury like that, and especially somebody who we consider one of the best in the business, and holding one of the biggest titles, obviously in independent wrestling, the SHW champ. But a torn Achilles, and he still wrestled for like 2 months.
Yeah.
Not only for us, but with Pro South and the Eddie Kingston Grindhouse shows. He was in a couple matches, and all along, all the while with a torn Achilles. Like, what a beast.
Well, we remember seeing right about where and when the injury happened. If you go back to the Rumble Jack, we kind of made the call, and we were wondering what happened. And, you would ask me on a regular basis, hey, is Joe like injured? And I was like, no, I really think he is. Like, he's really, and you could tell, his fluidity and things of that nature. And we were nervous, honestly, about Still Here 2. Right. If he was going to be able to be good for Still Here 2. And if you watch that match again, the Joe Black you saw in the Rumble Jack was not the same Joe Black that you saw fight for the championship. but he continued to fight valiantly. And, you know, that's the tough part about wrestling with injury and things like that. And, you know, for whatever things people want to say about our glorious sport, you know, injuries are what they are. And, you know, I understand, or at least I can imagine the challenge Joe Black has had. You know, you've waited all this time to finally get the opportunity to be champion. You finally get the championship run you're looking for, and now you're injured. You know, do you want to take the time off and potentially, you know, miss a run, miss what could be an amazing moment, you know, or do you gut it out? And the thing about an Achilles tendon or an Achilles heel is that's not something you can necessarily gut out with a sport that requires you to have so much activity on it. Plus, he's just got to walk from day to day, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's horrible to see. Joe Black, absolutely one of my favorites in this company. I just so happy to see him as champion. But, you know, as we look throughout wrestling folklore, injuries to champions is not a new thing. You know, let's go back to a recent NXT takeover. Quite frankly, the last two NXT champions, right? You had Karrion Kross, who had this huge win on an NXT takeover against Keith Lee and has to relinquish the title the next week because of an incredible injury. You know, we've seen Finn Balor deal with injuries. We've seen this happen many, many times before. So, you know, a lot of fans are offering their dedications to Joe Black, and rightfully so. And let me just say, I'd like to say I dubbed him as the promo king officially, and he is that. He is one of the greatest wrestlers, certainly in the state of Georgia and in independent wrestling. Take time to heal, champ. We can't wait to have you back. And we know when you get back, you are going to be an even greater beast than you are. So until then, rest up, get that Achilles heel well, and then when you come back, rumble, young man, rumble.
That's right. And you mentioned how, you know, this is not a new thing with champs having to relinquish the title due to injury. You know, it's happened over the years many, many times. You mentioned a few examples. And a lot of times when those guys do heal up and come back, they come back bigger, better than ever.
Absolutely.
And I expect nothing less. I'm sure Joe will do just that. You know, I just don't want him to rush it. You know, let it heal properly. Take all the time you need. You know, the fan base is going to be here when you get back, just ready, chomping at the bit for you to come back. So it's going to be great. We can't wait to see you back. But, you know, he mentioned it there in the video, you know, what's going to happen with the title. He said, you know, Dylan will probably come up with some kind of diabolical
plan,
plot there. So we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. Maybe we'll speculate a little bit on it, maybe towards the end of the show. But meanwhile, this is a regular episode of the podcast where we do have a special guest, and
we do.
That's right. This week's special guest. Yeah, go ahead. Tell the folks about
he was
the guy.
a winner at SHW 21, and he certainly has made a huge impression on all of Southern Honor ever since the Rumble Jack. He is a legit 7-foot monster, and I don't know. He could be somebody we're talking about potentially as a future SHW champion. With the title being what it is right now, who knows? Our guest this week is the one and only Austin Towers. We had a chance to sit down with him earlier this week. Here's how that went.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, coming off a big match last week at SHW 21, it's the Chief, Austin Towers. My man, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm feeling good. You know, it's it like rejuvenates my soul when I get to kick people in the face. I love it.
Wow. Hey, but speaking of which, yeah, you laid Dylan Freimeyer out pretty big time, and he posted a picture on social media right afterwards. He had basically, what size boot are you?
20, size 20.
Good
man.
Lord.
Good night. So anyway, so he had like a size 20 footprint on the side of his face. That was that's pretty gnarly, man.
That's what happens. He got the worst of it, man. I like to complete my matches, and he, you know, unfortunately, homeboy got in there, man. So
yeah,
it had to happen. It had to happen.
Wow. So you are, as we often say, a legitimate 7-foot monster. And as you mentioned, a size 20 shoe. This is going to sound like a really silly question. You've probably been asked it a million times, but where in the world does Austin Towers shop for sneakers? Because you don't just go into the mall, into your local Champs and grab, oh, a size 20. It's not what happens, man. So where do you get shoes? Where do you shop?
A lot of research, a lot of research, but like either Eastbay or Zappos, they'll have like a kind of a selection here, but you know, I kind of like to, you know, go on the Google search and go on tab 5 to see like the kind of the crazy websites, and I'll find some cool stuff. So
Yeah.
It's hard, but it's not that hard. So
Okay. Okay. I'm merely a 12, so I mean, and sometimes that can be hard to find, but a 20, good Lord. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's a little difficult, just a
Yeah.
smidge. But I've gotten used to it, and I found some shoes. I'm good now.
Good stuff.
I just know if we ever need some shelter or something, GB, we just had to borrow one of his shoes. I'm pretty sure we could just hang out in one of his shoes.
Y'all got jokes, man. Y'all got
No,
jokes.
he's
size-
got jokes. Let's be clear.
You got jokes.
I don't know if you know about us, man, but we're known to
This
stir
guy.
the pot a little bit.
Regardless.
Yeah.
All
Hashtag
right, I can dig that.
stir
I
the
can dig
pot.
that. I can dig that. All right,
Anyways.
all right.
So, man, you know, we like to talk to our guests a lot and kind of get a little bit of their background, a little bit of history from you. As far as wrestling is concerned, have you been following it your whole life? Have you always been a fan growing up?
You know, believe it or not, I actually was introduced, I should say reintroduced to wrestling around 2009 and 2010. So I am a late bloomer, so to speak. When I was growing up, I grew up in a very religious home.
Okay.
My mother did not like wrestling at
Wow.
all. Absolutely not. Especially in the Attitude Era, where, you know, you had Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and the Diva Search and stuff like that. It was, As soon as that cut on, she's like, cut that off right now. So and the only way that I was able to connect to the wrestling world was through the video games. You know, SmackDown versus Raw, you know, WrestleMania 2000, stuff like that. Like, I was able to play and kind of just imagine myself as a professional wrestler through there. And so when I was old enough to kind of be like, no, Mom, I'm going to watch wrestling whether you like it or not, that's when that's when I was actually starting to watch wrestling. And I was like, okay, now I'm like, wow, now I really want to try and do something like this, you know?
Yeah.
So at what age did you hit your, like, big growth spurt where everybody was like, this guy's going to be a 7-footer?
Well, I mean, the doctor told my mother that as soon as I was born, like, hey, you're going to get a big kid. But I've always been tall. I've always been tall. Like, you know, it's funny because growing up, being in the same classes and the same age as everybody, people would look at me and think that I'm older than everybody, just simply because of my size.
Yeah.
I've had to deal with that my whole life, so I'm just so used to it. I really am.
So I'm curious because a lot of taller athletes end up in sports like, you know, basketball or even football or things like that. For you, I mean, were you ever interested in basketball, and what kind of switched you over to pursue pro wrestling?
I did play basketball, unfortunately, and I get that question every single day.
I figured
every
you
day
would.
I step outside. Yep, you play basketball? Do you play basketball?
Right.
And it's funny because I'll be lying to them too. You know, I used to wear basketball jerseys, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, I play for this team. And they will believe it, of course. Like, who's going to question me? You know what I'm saying? Like, who's going to question me?
Yeah.
But, no, I played basketball for about 8 years. Played some in middle school. I did NJB for about 4 years. And then at high school, you know, did the tryouts and everything, and I got put on the varsity team. And then it just at one point it was like I'm not happy. I'm not happy. Like, you know, it's like the sluggish feeling getting out of bed. You don't want to get out of bed. It's like, I don't want to play basketball. It just didn't make me happy.
Yeah.
No matter how much money basketball would bring to me, you know what I'm saying? It just didn't give me that fulfillment. And the first time that I actually stepped in the wrestling ring, I was like, this is what I want to do. You know, everybody says that when they take that first bump, this is what I want to do. So, and that's what happened to me, man. So
Wow.
Basketball, football. I played tight end for about 2 years. I played volleyball for a year. Just none of it clicked with me.
Okay.
Didn't give me no fulfillment.
Well, you talked about the first time in a ring. So at what point did that click? Did you say, you know what, I want to try this. I want to see if this is something I can actually do?
Yeah, the question always came up, like, how do wrestlers ever become a professional wrestler? And I remember being with my friend Joe Hyken, which is the person who initially got me into professional wrestling. He's the one who found the school, looked up and did the research and found WWA4, which is the school that I started at. And this was back in 2013, the beginning of 2013. And he told me about the school, told me how good it was. And at the end of 2013, I decided that I'm going to sell everything I got, and I'm going to move down from California all the way to Atlanta, Georgia, to pursue professional wrestling. So
What a change of scenery.
Yeah.
boy, let me tell you, a huge culture shock, man.
Yeah.
I'm still, I've been here for 7 years, and I'm still getting used to it. I miss Cali every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. Well, it's a major cultural shock, obviously. I mean, from the weather to the environment to people in general. For you, what's been the biggest culture shock for you in that move?
The weather.
Okay.
The weather first of all, because Georgia is a bipolar. The weather is so bipolar. It'll rain hard for 10 minutes and then it'll see sunshine, and it's so weird. California has nothing like that. It'll have one weather and it'll stick for that for at least a week. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. That was probably like the biggest thing. And the people, of course. I feel like where I was in California, people are kind of just low key, kind of mind their own business and everything. People over here, they're very nosy. I don't want to try and like talk crap about Georgia people or nothing like that, but they're very nosy. They're very
Stir the
blunt
pot,
and
man.
upfront.
Yeah,
exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of them get on my nerves, which is why I have a scowl on my face most of the time that you see me, especially in the ring. I just,
Yeah.
By the way, general manager is calling me right now. I'm gonna take this after we're done with the interview.
The timing of that.
I don't know if it's because we've been stirring the pot too much,
It
or
could
what.
be.
But I'm gonna have to.
He probably felt, that's something on his face. He's like, oh no.
Anyways.
Nothing like that moment when the general manager calls right in the middle of the podcast. I love it. I love it.
Right.
So I'm curious about this because I think we all know the match or the moment that turned us into pro wrestling fans or made us want to get in the business in some way. What was that moment or match for you that made you go, yes, this is what I want to do?
Man, that's a good question. I believe it was the first time that I saw a steel cage match. I forgot exactly who was in the ring, but the steel cage matches are like my favorite matches. And I remember just seeing it. You see the steel cage come down. Of course, they have the flashing lights and everything like that. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a match that was in particular that I saw. And it was just like boom. But I also remember seeing an elimination chamber where they had Goldberg in there, and they had Chris Jericho, they had John Cena in them, and Goldberg was just wrecking everybody. Everybody was coming out of the pause. He was just wrecking everybody, wrecking house. I was like, man. And I remember my cousin, this is like a long time ago seeing this. My cousin was like, yo, that'd be so cool. I'm like, yo, Austin, you can do something like that. And I'm like, nah, there's no way that I can do something. I'm like, that's Goldberg. You see how big he is? That's Goldberg. Yeah. There's no way I can do this. I'm like a little kid, getting away with watching one wrestling promotion. You know what I'm saying? Just like the pay-per-view. I was getting away with just watching that. But like, I remember just watching that, and I was like, wow. I'm like super fascinated about that. But it's crazy that one of these days, I want that to be like a goal of mine, to either be in a steel cage or an elimination chamber. And I feel like once I get that, and it'd just be amazing.
That'd be something else, man. We look forward to that day, man.
Absolutely.
To be able to say that we saw you back when, So
if you ever see me in there and you see me look at the camera, I'm like this. I'm like, Okay, you know I'm pointing right at y'all because y'all know. Okay?
That's right.
There you
That's
go.
right.
There you go. Well, I was gonna ask. So you mentioned you started at WWA4 in 2013, right? So, and they actually run shows, right? Is it
Yeah,
weekly shows, or I don't know if they
it's
used
weekly
to or still
shows.
do?
It's
Okay.
it's every third. I'm not sure if they're having people come in, because of the quarantine and everything.
Right.
But
But at
yeah,
that time, they were
definitely
doing that. Yeah.
weekly shows every single Thursday. Every single Thursday they would have shows.
So how long? My question is, how long had you been training before you had your first match in front of an audience? Not just a
Oh.
training match, but like actually a crowd being there and a first match in front of an audience.
All right. Well, get your pot and that ladle ready. I'm about to stir the pot.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so I started training in the end of 2013, and I
Mhm.
didn't have my first legit match until 2015. And usually, wrestlers would come in when they start training. It would take them at least 6 months to possibly a year to where they would get in the ring and start wrestling. Well, special case about me, and here's another thing. I want to say this too. Okay, Curtis Hughes was my trainer,
Mhm.
but he did not train me. Did not. He basically refused to train me. He did not like me because I did not take his crap, because Mr. Hughes was the type of dude who would just sit in the ring and just look at you and not give no critiques to the people that he didn't like, because he didn't like me. Because coming into wrestling, I had no confidence. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm training with a whole bunch of smaller guys, so me getting, the proper training as a big man, I couldn't really get that. He didn't really give that to me, so I'm not gonna it's just a pride in me. I'm not trying to give credit to someone who really didn't have a hand in helping me train and anything like that. But the one thing that I can give Curtis Hughes is that he gave me a place to train at. And when basically all the trainees, including his favorites, batted for me to start wrestling, then he finally let me did. And then that's basically when it took off. So it took me a while. And
Okay.
those 2 years, those very first 2 years were very hard. I mean, just like, mentally and emotionally, it's really hard for me. But, here I am now. I didn't give up. So, yeah.
There you go. And I may have missed. Did you say who was the first match against in 2015?
Joe Hyken.
Oh,
Joe
okay.
Hyken, the same guy who got me into wrestling. He was my very first match, and it changed my life forever.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. That's awesome. So it's interesting because one would figure a 7-foot monster would just be riddled with confidence, but confidence was a concern for you. At what point did you become confident in who you are?
Y'all ready for this answer?
I'm ready.
This year.
Wow.
Okay.
This year. It was actually around June.
Okay.
It was actually the beginning of this year where I was contemplating if I wanted to continue doing this or not. Because I love wrestling. Don't get me wrong, but when you take so much beatings for years and years, and it's just like, man, I don't know if this is just worth it. Especially with the quarantine that happened.
Yeah.
And COVID happened, because I got asthma, and like I'm like the last person who should be having COVID, because that literally attacks the lungs. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't do this no more. But, every wrestler, there comes a point where you have to sit there and self-reflect. And I was like, you know what? Like, wrestlers already risk their lives being in the ring every single day, putting their bodies on the line every day. So realistically, this is just another obstacle. So it's like, you know what? I'm not going to hold myself back no more. Screw the confidence issues. I need to do something, because, me being 7 feet tall, me being the person that I am, I'm not just going to give up. And so when July hit, and I had a match over at Pro South against Joe Black, who's, Southern Honor Champion right now. And we had an absolute banger, an absolute barn burner. And I would love to actually have a match with him in Southern Honor if it ever came down to it. But after that match, I was like, you know what? I could do it. I can put on a good match. And ever since then, ever since July, it's just been going up since there. So, and it's thanks to that match, and my match with Logan Creed is the reason why that you see me here right now. So You know, it's crazy what 6 months can do to you. It's
It
crazy.
is.
You know what I'm
It-
saying? It's
it
crazy,
is.
and I love it. I'm loving every single second, really.
But it's so interesting because again, the pandemic really did cause a lot of people to ask
Mhm.
the hard questions. You know, some ask themselves, like you did, hey, do I even want to be here in this business anymore? Others decided, okay, I need to make some changes, you know, and made the changes that were necessary. And it's crazy because for us, we really got to first see you in the Rumble Jack. And in that Rumble Jack in August, we were just like, who is this guy? Because he's a star. I
Yeah.
mean, we had no idea that there were any confidence issues. And so to
Mhm.
me, kind of for anybody watching this, the lesson here is as soon as you flip that switch, everything gets to change for you. Because I mean, we never saw the lack of confidence issue. So for
Mhm.
us, that's why I'm like, how could you not be confident? But for you, as soon as you end up flipping that switch, everything changes. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. No, I've definitely come a long way, and I could probably say that because before I was kind of like, oh, maybe I've done some progress, but no, I can 100% that I have come a very long way. There's people that like I've grown up with, and they look at me, they're like, that's Austin? What?
Wow.
The quiet, timid kid back from church? Like, there's no way that that's Austin. And they look at me like, wow,
Wow.
that's crazy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
Yeah.
like, it's because as soon as that bell rings and as soon as I'm going through that curtain, it's like there's no room for doubt.
Yeah.
There's no room for doubt. You have all the cameras, you have all the people looking at you. What kind of experience do they want to see? What do you want to what impact do you want to leave on them? And it's just like that's why it's just straight 100% every
Yeah.
single time, because I want no doubt in myself, because I'm the only reason why I'm not doing it for nobody else. I'm
Yeah.
doing this purely for me,
Yeah.
because I'm not trying to do this for money. I'm not trying to do this for the fame. I'm trying to do this because like it's more of like a self-test. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to push myself every single time I'm in that ring, and
Yeah.
that's why like every promo, every time I'm in there, like I'm putting my life on the line
Yeah.
every time I'm in that ring, and I want
Wow.
people to see that. So that's what I'm doing, and it's been working so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
It's amazing. One of the things it's interesting because, of course, our introduction to you, like we said, was the Rumble Jack, and then we had Still Here Too, and there was the match with Owen Knight and David Ali, and certainly there was a lot of vested interest in that match for a lot of reasons, and out comes this 7-foot monster, and my first question is just, finally, David Ali is going to get his. And then you fooled us, and we found out that you were aligned with David Ali. So I'm curious, what in the world has sparked this alliance between you and David Ali? Because it certainly, I mean, my thought, I don't know that you would necessarily need him. You're a 7-foot monster, but there's some sort of alliance there. Talk a little bit about what that looks like.
Well, I'll say this. Me and David, we're cut from the same cloth. We think alike, which is the reason why when he gave me the opportunity to say, hey, I want you to work with me. Why would I say no for someone who we're basically the same?
Wow.
David Ali has come from a lot of hardships too. He has had to jump over a lot of obstacles. If you guys have paid attention to his career, coming from a street fighter to the savior and everything like that. So you've seen the growth in David Ali as well. So that's something that I personally can respect in David Ali. So when the olive branch was given, like I'm just gonna snatch it. And unfortunately, even though it's funny, it's so ironic that me, David, and Owen all came from the same school. You know what I'm saying? And
Wow.
for us to go in there and do what we do, it's a blessing. But things have to be done, and that's why I snatched him up. And like I said, things have to be done. He was given the chance, and unfortunately, he had to turn it down. So that's when I come in the picture. So,
Wow.
and that's what you saw.
Well, just to stir the pot a little bit, I'm just curious, and maybe you never saw this video, I don't know, but prior to that match, before that show, there was an interview where GB sat down with Owen Knight and David Ali. Fortunately, GB got caught in the crossfire. David Ali did what he did to Gerard here. What was the reason? To me, there was no reason for that. There was, I mean, GB's a commentator. Like, there's no reason to lay your hands on him. And
Well,
David Ali went after him. I don't understand why. We never got an answer from Ali.
Well, here's the thing. I can't speak for Ali, but looking from the outside in, I'm just going to say it like this. Whether professional wrestlers want to admit it or not, we are warriors in that ring. Every time that bell rings, it's a battle zone. It's a war zone. So you have two prime warriors in there, Owen Knight and David Ali, guys who have not even reached their prime yet. They're still getting better. You know, two prideful guys who are serious about their stuff. And so when you have two big egos clashing, something like that were to happen. And unfortunately, you know, my man, he was in the way, so stuff had to happen. So like I said, I can't speak for David Ali. But from looking from the outside in, you're in between two bulls who are ready to clash their horns, and so unfortunately, that's what happened.
Just
when I had to go,
just a wrong place, wrong time, wrong
place,
place.
wrong time. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's nothing personal, nothing, but you know, I felt for you. You know what I'm saying? I felt for you. I'm sorry.
We all did.
No one likes getting kicked in the gonads, man. No one likes that.
No, doesn't feel very good. Doesn't feel very good. So I'm curious because, you know, your future is certainly very, very bright. And I mean, I've had a chance to see some of the things you've been doing in Pro South, some of the things that obviously you're doing in SHW, huge future. David Ali, of course, has done quite a bit. He's I mean, whether we like him or not, he's done a whole lot. And so there's a lot to be said for that.
Look at AEW Dark over the last few months.
Absolutely.
He's been doing his thing.
What does the future look like for you and Ali? I mean, is it some point where perhaps you're helping him towards the SHW title? Maybe you guys are going after the tag titles. Perhaps you're taking a leap toward the SHW title. What's the future look like for you and David Ali?
Well, like I said, I can't speak for David Ali. But as far as my plans, it's whatever is there to grasp. You know, I'm coming to take over. You know, whatever place that I come into, I want to claim as my domain. Like this is my spot. That's why I call myself the chief. You know, I'm a natural born leader. I lead my army to greatness. Whoever is in the ring with me, I bring the best out of them, and which is what I want to do. So, you know, I had my ticket in, which is with David Ali. You know, that'll whatever happens, it'll run its course, and then the next step is just to take over, whether it be to take the title from Joe Black, or if I can single-handedly take the tag titles off of the Lynch Mob, I will gladly do that too. Which if that's the case, it doesn't matter. Like 2020, I'm trying to make some noise, and I'm trying to either go overseas or I'm trying to get that big paycheck by next year. So it's like whoever's in the ring with me, you're getting 150% of 7 Foot Titan. So it's like bring it, basically, just bring it. Whoever wants to bring it. That's why Dylan got hit in the head, because he was in there. Like, I'm in the ring, bro. What you doing? So yeah, I got to kick you. So it's whoever wants it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So you said you're trying to make some noise in 2020. Well, I would say you have done just that.
Absolutely.
At this point. And
I'm not done yet.
You know. Man, it's been amazing to watch your run so far. It's just through this year, and you've been doing it for a number of years now. But, you know, when we found out you were coming and you were going to be at the Rumble Jack, I looked at that as and I even gave you this treatment on commentary when The Undertaker arrived in 1990 at the Survivor Series. And was it, help me out, Gerard, was it Roddy Piper? With the ham hock line.
Oh yeah.
So I know you heard the line that I used, and I didn't know if you thought that was ridiculous, but to me that was an homage to the Undertaker, because I looked at you coming in just as big as in the WWF at the time, the Undertaker arriving, this big monster that nobody had seen before, and people had seen you, but in Southern Honor they had not. And so as soon as we saw you come out, I still get chills thinking about your entrance at the Rumble Jack.
Yeah.
Because you came out there and it was just like everybody stopped in their tracks. And I had to throw the look at the size of this ham hock, even though it's a goofy line. But if you got the reference, then I think people understood that, to me, it was like the Undertaker showing up. And another thing I thought was kind of funny, I was thinking about this earlier. You mentioned you come from a religious family and your mom was against you watching wrestling back in the day. You mentioned during the Attitude Era, and my first thought was, yeah, she probably would hate the Ministry of Darkness. With the,
Wow.
Oh yeah.
I would
Wow.
imagine that would never fly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just say this one thing, because I'm actually a part of a group called the Left Hand Path.
Mhm.
Yes.
And and my mom, when she first saw that, she was like, because the Left Hand Path, it's named off satanic group, but we're not satanic at all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a different thing. It's more or less we believe in ourselves. We are the bearer of our own futures and everything like that. So that's basically all we go through. But like when my mom first saw that, she was like, I didn't raise you to be like this.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? Black and gold is supposed to be your colors, not black and red, Austin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, at that point I had to put my foot down. Like, Mom, this is me. I'm the wrestler, not you.
Yeah.
Not you. You know what I'm saying? So,
It'd be like Shelton Benjamin. You should get her involved in an angle like Shelton
Oh,
Benjamin had
God.
this mom coming out to the ring with him.
That's
Anyways, I don't know
hilarious.
if you remember
oh
that.
my God, no,
Right.
no. Look, I had one show in Mississippi, and that was the one time my mom saw me wrestle.
Okay.
And I remember, and it's so ironic too. The same show, I actually wrestled David Ali. It was
Oh,
the same
wow.
show that I was wrestling David Ali, and David Ali hit me with a missile drop kick from the top rope, and I fell down, and I looked to my side, and I saw my mom take her coat off, put her purse down, and she had to be held back from my father.
Wow.
So she was for real about to get into the ring. My mom does not play with her
Wow.
son. She
Yeah.
does not play with her. So
Wow.
if I can have one person not be ringside, it'd be my mother.
It's Mom.
Please don't
Well,
do
look,
that.
And I know you're going to disagree with me, but I'm just saying I would buy a ticket to see your mom go after David Ali. I would pay to see that. That's money
My
right
mom
there.
is not
so,
short.
So Dylan,
My mom
book
is
it.
not short.
Dylan,
My
book
mom
it.
is 6
Wow.
foot. My mom is 6
Wow.
foot.
Okay.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and my father he was 6'5". So
Wow.
yeah, no, my mom is big, and when
Wow.
she's a very kind woman. Okay,
Yes.
she's a very kind woman, which is because I got the baby face and I got the light voice tone, so I'm a lot more approachable than a lot of people. But when that anger, when that scowl comes on the face, that scowl that you see me coming
Yeah.
to the ring, I got that from my mother.
Yeah.
All right, so you don't want to mess with my mom. She will slap
Right.
the ever-living taste out your mouth, and some teeth will come out too. And
Yeah.
she will not feel sorry about it, yo. Straight
Listen,
up.
good mothers do not play about their sons. This
Not
I
at
know.
all. Not at
Especially
all.
black moms.
No.
So I know.
Especially black mothers.
Listen,
Especially black
it's
mothers.
an entirely different ball game,
Boy,
man.
that's
Like,
not
oh
what you
my
want.
No,
That
it
is not what you want.
It
No.
is not. Oh my gosh.
No.
That's hilarious. But I totally get it. Totally get
Yup.
it. So I've got to ask you, man, again, you've been in Pro South. Of course, you're doing things in Southern Honor and the like right now. And you mentioned wanting to go overseas. You mentioned wanting to look at the big check and things like that. If you had a chance in 2021 to pick a dream opponent, who's your, say, top 3 dream opponents?
Man, what the hard questions. Okay. Now, hold on. Now, like dream opponents as far as like anybody?
Anybody,
Wow.
anywhere.
Okay. Well, I got to start with the inspirations first.
Okay.
Kane. Obviously, you can see that me
Yes.
walking to the ring. The stuff that I do, Kane, Undertaker, they're my biggest inspirations.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho is like an idol of mine. He's like, as far as The Rock, how a lot of wrestlers are, that's my Rock. That's
Wow.
Chris Jericho's up there.
Wow.
Randy Orton's another personal favorite of mine. If I
Okay.
was able to go to WWE and have one good match with Randy Orton, I'm like,
Wow.
that would be the one.
Wow.
As far as attainable, as far as like what's realistic, shoot. Oh, that's a very hard question now. Who's that guy? He's in AEW, but he has the lizard face.
Luchasaurus.
Luchasaurus is one of them. I would love to have another banger with Logan Creed. Logan Creed was my favorite big man match of all time. I feel like nobody will be able to top that. What we did over at Pro South. Who's who's another one? Oh, there's another dude. That's another dude. And I'm trying to put this out there. There's another guy named PB Smooth. He's another 7-foot wrestler.
Okay.
And the dude has the charisma that I have not seen in a long. It's honestly a charisma that I wish I would have had first coming into wrestling. But PB Smooth is definitely another one that I want to try and wrestle. So
is he around
for right now?
Is he around the Southeast, or where's he?
I believe he's in the Northeast area, kind of like the New York, New Jersey area. I believe so. I'm not entirely sure exactly where he stays at or resides in, but I know he does like Battle Club and stuff like that over there. So
this show reaches a lot of places. So
and I'm trying. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to put it out there.
Yeah.
PB, if you see this, bro, come bring yourself down so we can tear this ring up. I'm trying to do it for real.
Yeah.
Speaking of tearing the ring up, can we just like not tear the SHW ring up? You saw what Cyrus did the other night.
This is why I don't go top rope. That's one of my main fears. Because you think just because I'm tall that I prefer heights? I don't.
Yeah.
Because big things hit harder when they hit the floor. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to try and go to the top rope and crash and burn.
It makes sense. See, okay, it's great to hear a big man like yourself say something like that makes sense, because when we see a Logan Creed, and this is not to say anything about him or to take anything away, but some of these big guys, I see them go up top, and I'm like, what are they thinking?
Yeah.
The bigger you are, the harder you're going to hit, and the more it's going to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's high risk, high reward, man.
It looks. I mean, it looks amazing. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
But still, for your sake, I'm like, God, what are you doing?
But to your point,
put your life on the ring.
Yeah. If you hit
put your life on the ring, man.
Absolutely. Yep. Holy cow.
So,
all right. So
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, so you talked about some of your dream opponents. You mentioned going overseas or getting that big paycheck. Do you have a preference as far as companies, or is it just whatever you take whatever you want, or it depends on at the time what they're offering you? Because some guys are like straight up AEW, some guys want to go through ROH or Impact, some guys just want to go to Japan and work some companies in Japan. Do you have a specific preference?
Okay, it's basically whoever throws the bait at first, really. Whoever throws the hand out first, really.
Okay.
But what I wanted to do, and this is a decision that I made a couple years ago, is that I want to make sure that Austin Towers is a known name, so that if I were to get signed to wherever, they would know who they're messing with. They would know what to do with me and stuff like that. Because you have a lot of guys who get signed and then they change their names and everything. I understand that's about the business, because with copyrights and stuff like that. But I want people to know like who I am, what I do. You know what I'm saying? If I say Tower overall, I want the people to know exactly what to say and everything like that. So it's realistically whoever has the first offer. But if I could choose anything, I would like to end my career in WWE. That'd be because they're the ones that got me into wrestling in the first place.
Yeah.
So why not want to end that career on a high note with the biggest company in wrestling?
Yeah. I love it. That makes a lot of sense. I love that, man. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And we are just, we're pumped, man, to have you here, because I think I've been impressed by you from the first day I saw you. And you just keep growing and you keep doing incredible things, man. So I really believe, as close as you are to the sky at 7 feet, the sky really is not the limit for you. I think you can really bust that out of the water, man. So kudos to you. I'm proud of you, man. Thank you very much, man. I'm just trying. That's all I'm doing. I'm just trying, man. You can't succeed unless you try something, man. So here's me trying.
Very true. Very true. Well, man, I don't know when the next time we will see you will be. Of course, we do have the show SHW 22 coming up on December 11th, so perhaps we'll see you there. We don't know the full card yet, but I guess.
My face is on the picture, so I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
So it's the question is who's gonna get kicked in the face. That should be the question, really.
So basically, I need to double check. I need to tell Dylan, just make sure you stay out of the ring this time, unless you want another kick to the face.
That's if he's in the way. Okay, that goes for anybody in the line. If you're in the way, there's a size 20 boot that's gonna be coming to your head. So stay out me. stay at David Ali's way, and there's gonna be no problems. Period. That's all that it is.
I'm telling you, and just for proof, like check social media. We'll share the picture that Dylan posted. He's got a footprint on his
Yeah.
face, people.
Yep.
On his
That was
face.
me.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That was this
unbelievable.
guy.
Well, I
Yeah.
tell
That was
you
this
what, man,
guy.
this has been a lot of fun getting to know you a little bit. We really appreciate you
Of course,
joining us
man.
here on the podcast. So we'll have to have you back.
Anytime.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back sometime soon. And who knows, maybe
course.
next time we'll be talking about another banger match maybe you had with Logan Creed or perhaps with Joe Black, perhaps for the title. We don't know.
Who knows?
I'm all for it. I'm all for the challenge, man. Whoever wants to step up, man, shoot. I don't care. I'm trying to make some noise, even more noise than I am right now. So whoever wants to help me make some noise, or let's create some noise together. Let's do it. I'm ready.
Well, before we let you go, where can people follow you on social media?
I'm very easy to find. Just look up Austin Towers. Very recognizable face. Very recognizable height. But yeah, you can look up the Chief, Austin Towers on Twitter. You'll be able to find me. Austin Towers on Instagram. Austin Towers on Facebook. So I'm a one-of-a-kind man, you know.
You're very hard to miss in a crowd. That's for sure.
This is true.
Very hard to miss. This is why I stay at home and I don't get in trouble with nothing, because I'm easy to find. So you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Do you have any merch for sale at the shows or online or anything like that?
You know, I sell 8x10s and I sell little like fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards of myself. Other than that, like you can go on storefrontier.com and look up Austin Towers domain. You can have all the shirts and everything like that. I just recently signed a deal with Boot and Heel as well. So you can go on their website and then type in my name, Austin Towers, and you'll be able to see my merch up on there too, and all the wrestlers that are a part of that group as well.
So that's Boot and Heel and Store Frontier, and just search for
Yes.
Austin Towers. Awesome.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Well, man, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And like I said, we got to have you back sometime soon, buddy.
Of course, anytime, man. I'm here. I'm here, ready to kick somebody's face off, man.
All right. Well, we'll see you real
All right.
soon. Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
All right, guys, another fantastic interview. And listen, he's a 7-foot monster, but Austin Towers is a pretty cool guy.
He
He's
is.
a pretty cool guy.
I wasn't quite sure what to expect because, you know, sometimes we get guys on the air like a Logan Chase or Jordan Kingsley, or you just never know what direction these interviews are going to go. Sometimes they open up to us a little bit. Sometimes they're just, you know, in our face a little bit. So, but yeah, Austin, man, what a great dude. It's good to get to know a little bit more about him, and
Absolutely.
can't wait to see what else he's got in store for us at SHW. I still am not crazy about the fact that he's aligned himself with David Ali, but you heard his reasoning there, and it is what it is.
And if you'd like to hear David Ali's reasoning for why he selected Austin Towers, you can do that when SHW 21 hits IWTV, as David Ali actually sat in the commentary booth with us during the big match. Yes.
By the way, I feel like that's my fault, because a couple weeks ago on the podcast when I mentioned that maybe, like, what if that happened, and then you said don't put it into the universe, and then
what'd you do?
And then he showed up at ringside and sat right next to us and jumped on commentary. So my bad.
So you guys can hear the manifestation thank you of B-Dub with David Ali on commentary, along with a host of other just incredible things that happened in SHW 21. When it hits IWTV, if you're not subscribed, go to independentwrestling.tv. You can sign up with the promo code SHW. The first 5 days are free, and you can check out all of the entire catalog of Southern Honor Wrestling. So it's definitely going to be a good time. What a great show it was. And however it ended will now seem obsolete compared to, of course, the announcement we heard earlier this week and earlier in the show from the SHW champion, Joe Black.
That's right. And, of course, during the interview with Austin there, you saw that Gary had called me, and I said I would take it later. Well, I took it later, and that's when we found out all this craziness was going on about Joe Black. And you probably noticed Austin talking about wanting to vie for the title against Joe Black and all this stuff. That was right before we actually found out the news. So it was just kind of crazy how all this played out, and just insane. But we don't know exactly yet what's going to happen with the world title. We know it's going to be Joe's going to be at SHW 22 on December 11th.
Yeah.
To relinquish the title, but we don't know what's going to happen from there. I don't know if we're going to end up with like some sort of a tournament or like similar to what we did with the Rumble Jack. Could it be a battle royal situation? We just don't know. And you saw that SHW's Facebook page posted earlier this week, just kind of asking the fans, like, what do you think is going to happen? And of course, there was a lot of, did you see the comments on that?
There are a lot of comments. There was a lot of activity on that, which says that the SHW faithful is very much vested into this, and they have a lot to say about it. And we haven't even talked about, what we think could happen, knowing that Dylan's mind is wildly creative. Of course, we know, and you were there for the very first show to determine the first SHW champion, which, was a series of 5 matches. And then all of the winners ended up in a 5-way elimination style match that determined the first champion, which happened to be Kevin Ryan. I don't know that fate will replicate itself in that way, but good Lord, there's a lot of potential ways that this could go. What would you like to see happen on SHW 22?
I don't know. I'm actually curious if this would be, maybe they do a tournament style, but would it be a night similar to the very first show where we find out a new champion that night? Or would this be like a tournament where it would last for 2 or 3 shows and then culminate with a big title match, tournament style? I have no idea.
Wow.
I don't know if I really have a preference because I have faith in the guys running the show.
Sure.
That, because every single show blows our mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whatever it's going to be, I know it's going to be awesome. But I don't know if I have an actual preference. I am curious if both Matt and Joey Lynch will be involved, whether it is like a Rumble, a Battle Royal, a tournament, because those were the 2 guys you wonder what's going through their mind, because they were like, well, we had a triple threat match for the title coming up.
Right.
And now that's out the window. So,
yeah,
they're probably a little bit peeved about that. But again, we all, as the entire roster and, of course, us behind the scenes, wish Joe well. So we're not like, we understand the situation. But
certainly.
Yeah.
But I think there are a lot of potential scenarios and a lot of things to look at. For instance, I know someone made the suggestion about involving all of the former champions of SHW, so you're looking at a Kevin Ryan, an AC Mack, a Logan Creed. And this would get interesting because, we said that there was the whole one-shot deal for Corey Hollis, which is why he was suspended at SHW 21. Does that suspension get lifted and the one-shot deal get lifted with the fact that, there is currently no champion? Do you still consider Matt and Joey Lynch at this point? Because there are potentially other wrestlers. Does Gunnar Miller get another opportunity at the title? Do we see some new faces? I mean, we saw a number of folks come in from Pro South. Could Tyler Colpret, who has gone public by saying he wanted to be a part of this situation?
Trevor Eon.
Trevor Eon with a big win over William Huckabee. That's something that you got to consider. Austin Towers, our guest this week, someone who we could easily see as a future SHW champion. I've even seen this name thrown around, the runner-up to the Rumble Jack, Owen Knight. Could he come out as the new SHW champion? All sorts of possibilities in the air. Man,
your other favorite commentary partner besides myself, David Ali.
David Ali.
I mean, the whole roster is so solid. Like, I could see anybody with this.
And I almost forgot another former champion, Ashton Starr.
Yep.
So
he's gonna, by the way, he's gonna love that you forgot him.
I'm sure. And it was not intentional at all.
But I just real quick, and this is kind of a little off topic, but I'm just curious.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about this at the beginning of the show, but a little something happened with you and him at SHW 21. Did you want to speak on that at all?
I've thought about it, and I'm going to be the bigger man right now and just let that be what it is, in the hopes that I don't know, he was having a tantrum that night.
The biggest one I've ever seen, I think.
A rather significant one, and he took it out on several people. And so I'm just going to hopefully let that be what that is. It's the holiday season, so we'll see what he does. But he has to be considered as a former champion, I would imagine. The scary part about it is we've easily mentioned 8 to 10 guys, easily, and having forgotten some people that, we haven't mentioned, that we've seen, et cetera, et cetera. So
Danny Jordan.
Can you imagine the very first woman to win the SHW championship being Danny Jordan? That's a realistic possibility.
She's been in both Rumble Jacks. There's no reason.
Has.
There's no reason she couldn't be.
She has.
I mean,
and we could see faces that we haven't seen in SHW in a while. We've seen one of our friends just tearing it up all over the place, Lindsay Snow.
Yeah.
Like that's a possibility. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And so for that reason alone, it's worth making sure you're at SHW 22. I'll say this, which I think you'll find interesting too. 2020 to some degree cheated us because we were going to have the SCI.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we don't know how this is going to turn out for SHW 22. But there's one thing for sure. I can't even say we can guarantee because we don't know if there's going to be a new champion on SHW 22. We know we'll at least find out the plan. So, make sure you're there because who knows? Anything can happen. So probably will.
Exactly. That's kind of the credo for SHW. You never know.
Really.
You never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to show up. And so to our knowledge, there is an announcement forthcoming about what the situation is going to be with the title.
Which is part of what your call was about. Gary was saying, hey, we got an announcement coming. So
exactly. And of course we found out Joe's announcement, which you saw at the top of this show. And if you haven't seen it, then you can go back. It's posted on the Facebook page here. But just what a whirlwind this week has been, where we were coming off such a great show from last week. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, hit the brakes. I mean, it's 2020. So I kind of like, what else do you expect? Like it's
right.
What else is going to happen? But anyways, again, we do wish Joe Black the very, very best and hope for a speedy recovery, and just let it heal. Don't push it. Don't try to come back too soon because, like I said earlier, we think he's one of the best in the business, and I want him to be able to get back to that point.
Absolutely.
And not try to rush it or anything and re-injure anything or anything crazy like that. So, by the way, before we get out of here, I don't know if you guys saw this. You probably did. If you follow us on social media, or of course you follow the podcast SHW Pod on social media. But your boys here, we cleaned up kind of nice. I don't know if you saw a couple of headshots that we posted, but I want to give a shout out to our pal Corey Tatum and also our buddy Brian Galgano, Wrestling Snapshots. You can follow them on Facebook. And at wrestling_snapshots on Instagram. Corey, he hasn't been around the last couple shows, but prior to that, he was our main photographer for many, many SHW shows. And if you are a wrestler and you want to get some really, really slick professional headshots done, that's your guy. So find him on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, Wrestling Snapshots. Big shout out to him. He made us look way better than we actually look. So I was like, wow.
Shout out to him. And I will just say this, ladies, stay out of Brandon's DMs.
But I don't know.
Actually, maybe you should flood his DMs. How about that?
I was gonna say, if you like spaghetti, I make a mean spaghetti. And
wait, and you told me you made a mean like mashed potato with bacon with mashed potatoes. What is that now?
I call them bacon cheddar mashed potatoes.
Bacon cheddar mashed potatoes.
That's right.
Breakfast and lunch of champions.
Potatoes.
Oh, potatoes. Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
You gotta throw a little Southern on it.
Karate.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Throw a little Southern on there.
My gosh.
Anyways, for people that don't get the reference, there was a whole thing about us stirring the pot, and we were at the photo shoot this past weekend, and we had the pot, and they said, Corey was like, "What? That pot's way too clean. Do you actually ever use it?"
Clean pot.
I said, "Well, I use it for two things. I boil my noodles for my spaghetti.
Yes.
And I make my mashed potatoes." And,
yes.
Corey said I didn't have enough seasoning on there. He said I didn't use it enough, but it is what it is. Anyways.
Well, I'll say this much. We have been dubbed for some reason the best dressed commentators.
Gary said it, not us.
Gary did say it. So, hopefully we lived up to that. So if you guys have missed the pictures, you can find them on either of our socials or, of course, at SHW Pod. And let us know what you think. I mean, hey. And some of you guys in SHW land don't usually see us at the shows anyway because, you're looking in the ring or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I almost threw out the hello, ladies.
Oh, my gosh.
And then I didn't, but then I just did. So there it
You
is.
just did.
Anyways.
You really just did.
Anyways.
Oh, boy. Well,
Hey, I guess, do we have anything else to tell the
What
folks
else
before
is
we get
there?
out of here? I think maybe we'll end it on that note. It's been a crazy week, man. It's been a crazy week. By the way, next week is Thanksgiving, so I believe we'll probably take next Friday off.
yes.
And then we'll pick up the following Friday with our regularly scheduled program. But
And
I
then
hope
the
everybody,
Friday after that is SHW 22, guys. So
I can't believe that got here quick.
very, very fast. So make your plans to be with us. We know it's going to be a very special night. And in the coming days, we may find out how special it's going to be. So make plans to be with us.
Hope you guys have a great week next week. And I know it's a weird year for Thanksgiving. I know a lot of people, some people are still trying to do some family stuff and others are trying to keep their distance and all that good stuff. But, at least meet up with your family on Zoom or FaceTime or something and try to get a little family time in there if you can. But I'll be making up some bacon cheddar mashed potatoes. And ladies, if you hit my DMs, maybe.
Listen, he's got a spot open at the Thanksgiving table just for you.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Okay?
Call him B-Dub at B-double-SHW. That's how you can find him. Flood those DMs, ladies.
There it is. Cheap pop, cheap plug. There it is. All right. Well, I guess that's going to wrap us up here. And until we see you in a couple weeks, this has been SHW.
This is our wrestling.